Hello everybody, Levi Clay here, and I'm back to talk about some guitar related news, because I thought you might want to know about this. So, as some of you know, I'm a huge fan of country music. I'm displaying some of my country beasts behind me at the moment. Pink Paisley, there's a Sur Telecaster in the middle there, with the Brent Mason electrics of course, and my Fender Road-Worn series that I'm turning into a Danny Gatton clone. It's got some Bardem pickups in it. I've got Carson Hess making a Dingus mounting plate for it. Very cool. So, huge country music fan. Been listening to country music for a very long time now, and well, I've got a couple of country music books out there, with a third just been written, and the manuscript has been sent to my editor. So yeah, very, very passionate about country music. And it's hard to be passionate about country music, modern country music, and not be massively aware of and appreciative of the work that Brad Paisley has done in country music since 2000. Brad Paisley, what is there that can be said that hasn't already been said about Brad Paisley? Phenomenal guitar player, great songwriter, excellent voice, entertaining on stage, full package kind of deal. So the rumblings of a Brad Paisley signature model are something that is going to get any fan of country guitar and collecting gear and stuff like that quite excited. That product has now been announced officially. I woke up to a few messages from people pointing out links to where you can pre-order it and stuff, and I felt that I needed to make a video. And why do I need to make a video? Because it's thoroughly disappointing. Like, this is an example of how you do a signature model the totally wrong way. Like, it's shocking how poorly handled I feel this has been, for a couple of reasons, and let's dig into those. Now, of course, I can't comment on the quality of the instrument, and actually, after a cursory bit of research, I can't even confirm whether the instrument is made in Japan or made in Mexico. I'm leaning towards Japan, based on the things that I've seen a few people say, but there seems to be some confusion on this. Either way, I don't think that's particularly offensive. The Road-Worn Fender that I have up there is Mexican. It doesn't bother me. Things like that are done to keep the price down, and it's worth pointing out that this guitar, the price is low-ish. It's still over £1,000 in the UK. I think it retails for £1,069, somewhere around that price point. You can order it now on Guitar Guitar's website for about £1,045. So it's definitely on the pricey end of things when you compare it to, for example, that Fender Road-Worn that I have back there. That wasn't that expensive, and that's well, it's a made in Mexico nitro finish on it. Real cool guitar, plays good, sounds good, especially with the pickup upgrades. Anyway, so yeah, we're looking at the £1,000 mark. Now, what are you getting for that? You're getting a guitar that seems to be nothing to do with Brad Paisley and his rich history of guitars. Now, Brad is a huge guitar collector, and when you go see Brad Paisley live, he tends to play a lot of guitars. And of course there's a ton of music videos and things like that. Now, I'm not particularly familiar with Brad playing a sparkle finished guitar with a maple neck and a worn arm part, which is essentially what this signature model is. So I'm going to cut in some clips now. These are all taken from the live Brad Paisley CD and DVD that was released, I think, in the US. I imported it from somewhere. It's great. It's well worth checking out. It's excellent to watch, Brad perform, because he's an excellent performer. And there's tons of great guitars on here. And as you can see them circling up there now, you may be noticing that he's not playing this guitar. He doesn't play this guitar at all. And that's strange to me. That's very strange to me. Because when you release a signature model for somebody, generally speaking, the idea is that at a glance, people can see it and know whose guitar it is. You're releasing a signature model. It's an iconic guitar played by an iconic player. And there's no denying that on the country guitar scene, Brad Paisley is an iconic player. But this, a sparkle finish with a road-worn arm, this isn't iconic. Brad doesn't play this guitar in his concerts at all. in this particular concert. Obviously he may be now, and that's kind of the point. Like, yes, okay, I could be completely wrong. Brad may own this guitar, and Fender may have copied the guitar that he owns, but it's certainly not one of his more iconic guitars. Obviously, fans of Brad will be aware of the fact that he doesn't just play Fenders. He plays lots of guitars, most notably the Crook Custom Telecasters. They're awesome, would love one. But when you look through Brad's guitar collection on his website, cut that in now, he's got everything. He's got everything that he has that he lost in the flood, in the Nashville flood. He's got everything that he has at home, and there's some very strange looking guitars on there. And he's got every guitar that he takes on the road. Now, I don't think for 1 second that this list is a complete list. Of course it's not a complete list. The man is a madman. He spends a fortune on guitars, I'm sure, and he has probably more guitars. He's probably forgotten about more guitars that he owns than I'll ever own. The point is, when looking through this collection of guitars that Brad Paisley goes out and plays on the road or plays in the studio, there are some guitars that I would consider to be truly iconic. You may think of Brad as being the Paisley guy. Of course, his surname is Paisley. Obviously, the original Paisley guitars aren't his, they're not named after him. But when you have a name like Paisley, you kind of need to play Paisley guitars. So Brad has a selection of beautiful, beautiful Paisley guitars. The blue Paisley Crook Custom is stunning. He's had actually so many great Crook Custom Paisley finishes. I'm a big fan of the red Paisley finish that he had. You've got the camo Paisley that became the Splash guitar. You've got the water guitar. These are all, for modern Brad Paisley fans, these are iconic. You've actually got two even more iconic guitars than that, though. Brad Paisley owns a 52 Telly. A 52. And he goes out on the road with that. That guitar goes out on the road with him. And as you can see from the picture, it's got a cool Paisley pickguard on it. And it's road worn. It is genuinely worn. This is wear from years of use. It looks authentic. What you'll notice on this is there's some wear around the arm, where the arm would rest. There's also some wear underneath the control plate, where you would expect fingers to constantly be touching the guitar over a 60-year period. And there's also some wear underneath the ashtray bridge. Again, somewhere where you would expect a fair amount of contact to be made with the guitar. A little bit of wear on the upper horn and things like that. In general, that is a stunning guitar. That is an iconic guitar. And if you had made that, then you would already have my pre-order. Simple as that. But Brad Paisley has a guitar that's even more iconic than that. Brad Paisley has the guitar affectionately known as Old Pink. A 68, I believe, a 68 Paisley, Fender Paisley Telecaster. Looks something like my Paisley, but not quite. Beautiful. I mean, that has a humbucker in it, so not quite like that, but beautiful, beautiful guitar. That is probably the guitar that you think of when you think of Brad Paisley. And Fender don't sell a guitar like that. Fender do a Mexican Paisley guitar, Japanese Paisley guitar, a made in Japan Paisley finished guitar, and they look dreadful. They just look pink. That's not what a good Paisley guitar looks like. A 68 Paisley isn't bright pink anymore, because over time the nitro finishes on them start to kind of stain yellow, and then the pink underneath kind of looks more like a gold. And that's what you're really looking for when you go for a Paisley Telly. And that's exactly, actually, when you look at Brad's pink and video footage of Brad's pink, it looks gold, actually. And that's cool, because that's authentic. That is a fucking iconic guitar. This sparkle finish pile of crap is not iconic. Sure, over the next couple of years, Brad might go out of his way to play this thing live a little bit. But let's not pretend it's iconic at all. He does, in fairness, have a similar guitar that he does take out on the road. And he plays it on This Is Country Music and things like that. Sparkle finish. It does have the wear on the arm. It's got a rosewood board on it though, doesn't it, Fender? Not a maple neck. So, if that's the guitar you based this on, you've not paid a lot of attention to it, have you? But there's actually a bigger issue, and this is something that you're going to see on every single video about this guitar, and that is, does it come with a G bender or a B bender? Well, Brad doesn't really use B benders. Brad is well known for his use of a G bender system on his guitars, the McVeigh G bender. Fantastic. It's integral to Brad Paisley's sound. It's not something that you can sort of not have. If you try to learn any Brad Paisley song, I'm going to say in 80% of them, that G bender is going to get used. It's such a part of the way he plays, as you can see from live footage of him, that it's when he's improvising, it's just there. It's part of who he is. It's instinctive for him to pull down on the neck and pull that G string up a tone. That's part of who he is as a player. It's as much a part of his sound as a loud Dr. Z amp is. It's as much a part of his sound as a bridge pickup on a Telecaster is. It is Brad. Brad is the G bender. I've switched the bender system over on my, I have a Gibson Music City Junior, and I've switched the bender over to a G bender so I can play more Brad Paisley stuff. You can't play Brad Paisley stuff without a G bender. And Brad even acknowledges this, and Fender seem to have missed this, because in the promo video for the announcement of his signature model, at the start, he's playing said signature model. You can see him playing said signature model. In fact, there it is. And when he plays it, twice within the first 10 seconds, he uses a G bender. How is he doing that? Because this signature model doesn't come with a G bender on it. Now, I understand that in doing that, in putting a G bender on a guitar, it's going to inflate the cost dramatically. Dramatically. It's probably going to take the guitar into the £2,000 range. But it can't be avoided. That's just what needed to be done. We talk about the decline of the electric guitar industry and shit like that. It's because companies go out and make what they want to make, and what getting that middle ground between what's going to be expensive for them to make and what's going to be the right thing to make. Nobody wants to buy a Les Paul with chambering in it. Nobody. Well, okay, some people do. But the point is, a lot of people want a proper Les Paul. They don't want this chambering shit. If you buy a Brad Paisley signature guitar, you probably want a G bender on it. Because, as we can see from that footage of Brad playing the signature model, he's had a G bender put on it. Not rocket science, is it? I mean, even when we think of his 52 Telly and Old Pink, right? These are vintage instruments with unbelievable levels of value associated with them. Not just because they're vintage instruments, but because they're Brad Paisley's guitars and they've been on so many amazing albums. A 52 Telly. I can't imagine how much money that's worth. I can't imagine what it would take to have a guitar that's worth that much money and to take it to someone and say, I would like you to modify this very heavily for me. He's got a G bender put in his 52 Telly. He's got a G bender put in his 68 Pink Paisley. You don't do that to vintage instruments like this unless it's such an important part of who you are that you cannot live without it on these parts of history. And that is unavoidable. So it's fucking shocking that this guitar does not have a G bender on it. I'm sorry, there's no way around that. Brad could very easily just keep playing all of his custom guitars with the G bender on them and have left Old Pink and the 52 alone, but he didn't, because the G bender is such an important part of who he is as a player. And you really start to understand that when you watch the DVD that you can purchase. I wasn't even aware of how much he used that G bender until I watched him up close playing, and he uses it all the time. It's amazing how much a part of his vocabulary that is, and it is unforgivable that Fender seem to think that it is acceptable to release a Brad Paisley signature guitar that doesn't look like a guitar he plays and doesn't have a G bender on it. What were you thinking? And this is before I even touch on things like, you know, the what looks like terrible aging. I'm not going to touch stuff like that. I don't have any issues with road-worn guitars. I can't help but think the road-worn effect on this guitar isn't particularly flattering. It's not how I would like a guitar to look when road-worn. It doesn't look like the wearing on his 52 telly. It looks like synthetic wear, because obviously it is. So I'm not really going to touch on that. Those are the two issues. It's not iconic and it doesn't feature a G-bender. And that, to me, is laughable. So I can't comment on the quality of the guitar. I've not played one yet. If Fender would like to send me one for me to try out, I'm sure it plays great. I'm sure it does. No doubt in my mind that it plays great. Good for you. You've made a guitar that looks and plays cool. But it shouldn't really have Brad Paisley's name on it, should it? But what do you guys think? Do you think that this is a cool guitar? Do you think 5 years ago when you thought of the idea of Brad Paisley having a signature Fender, is this what you imagined? Now it's here, are you happy with it? Do you think what you get justifies the price? I'm genuinely interested to know your thoughts. So leave me a comment in the comment box below, because I'm happy to interact with anybody out there. And if you want to tell me I'm wrong, that's fine too. I'm not going to attack you, because that's not what grown-ups do. Lastly, I would just like to thank all of my patrons. You can join us for as little as $1, get access to a private patron-only Facebook group, lots of cool stuff going in there, transcription challenges and the like. If you would like to join us over there, you can do so by clicking this box that's somewhere around here. You can subscribe by clicking this little thing down here, and there's 2 more of my videos over here that you can check out. Sure, you'll find some content you enjoy, sure you'll find some content you don't enjoy. Either way, I'm going to keep making videos because I love doing it. So peace out guys, and I'll catch you for another video soon.